Hi everyone. So I wanted to share an idea with you from the Parshas Vayikra Sicha that I've been thinking about a lot. It's a really amazing idea. But I want to preface by first sharing a different idea that's not from Vayikra Sicha, but it's connected. So we know that there's this idea that by Reb Shimon Bar Yochai there was no Churban. There was no destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. There was no Gullus by him. So, and we know that whatever applies to Reb Shimon Bar Yochai applies obviously to the Chabad Rebbeim and any tzaddik that was on his caliber. So the question is, were they living in a different world? Like, how is that possible? And what it teaches us is that Geula is completely connected to our perspective. And this also helps us understand, what does it mean when the Rebbe says, open your eyes? So what's the difference between our generation and previous generations? Well, in previous generations, of course, anyone always had access to a Geula reality, but it would take a lot of hard work. You had to be like a very high-level tzaddik because the world wasn't refined yet, the Vodas HaBrurim wasn't finished, so it wasn't really available to every Jew, even though it was, but it really wasn't, right? So, or it was, but it was just like too difficult for the average Jew. So in our generation, when the Rebbe says, open your eyes, the Rebbe is telling us that now we live in a new time where it's available actually to every Jew. The Geula is available. And so it's very much about a perspective shift, which is why learning, especially the Rebbe's Sichos and Maimarim, is so important, because it shifts our perspective and helps us live with the Geula. And please God, we'll shift our perspective enough that we'll find ourselves in Yerushalayim with the fullest galus of the Geula. So the Rebbe says something in the Parshas Vayikra Sicha that made me realize the connection between giving tzedaka and the Geula. Because the Rebbe says, he quotes Torah Or, and he says that when you give tzedaka, it actually clarifies your mind and your heart times 1,000. The Alter Rebbe says that. So now we can understand what it means that tzedaka brings the Geula, because when we give tzedaka, it helps us expand our consciousness, which we just said is how you experience Geula, is through a perspective shift. And when you give tzedaka, it helps you shift your perspective because it opens your mind and heart. So in the Vayikra Sicha, the Rebbe is saying, give tzedaka, make a calculation, give that, and then give more, and then give so much that you're not even calculating. So I had an experience the other day where I really try to get, like when a campaign is going around, like I try to not close my heart. Like I try to be like, okay, this came my way, like it's a shgacha pratis, and I really try to give, even if it's just a little something. But I don't always, but I'm really working on it. So the other day, a campaign came my way, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop and I'm gonna give. And right after that, an idea in Chassidus that I had been struggling with became clear to me, and it was literally like the correlation was obvious. I was like, whoa, did that just happen? Like, I just saw how giving tzedakah expanded my consciousness. It was like literally like directly related. So I wanted to just share this, that we should take the Rebbe's words to heart. It's hard. It's hard to give lots of tzedakah, because when you have money in your bank account, and especially if you're not a person who has loads and loads of extra, you feel like, I need this money to pay my bills. Like, how am I going to part with it, First of all, we have a promise in the Torah that when you give tzedakah, Hashem pays you back. So really, even if it feels illogical, the most logical thing to do is to give lots of tzedakah, especially when we're trying to open our eyes to the Geula. So may we give lots of tzedakah, may our eyes open, and may we find ourselves dancing in Yerushalayim immediately together this Purim. Freilich and Purim, everyone.